Hims and Hers got a lot of attention last week when basically Big Pharma tried to get their ad in the Super Bowl blocked, went all the way to the senators who were siding with Big Pharma. Now, one of the things that I took away from this is this really shows how disruptive Hims and Hers' business potentially is. If the pharmaceutical industries, if pharmacies themselves, if trade associations are terrified of Hims and Hers gaining more business and more traction in the market, that shows you exactly how disruptive this business is. When the establishment fights back like this, I think this is where you want to be investing. So I want to go through a little bit of what we saw last week, the pushback, and then who was actually making this pushback. I think this is interesting to look at because Hims and Hers is not only disrupting the pharmaceuticals, they're disrupting the whole supply chain. Remember, Hims and Hers owns their own pharmacies now where they can create compounded treatments. They're also changing that patient to doctor relationship. They're changing the pharmacy relationship. So of course, who's going to be fighting back? It's not only pharmaceutical companies, it's going to be doctors. It's going to be pharmacies. That's exactly who you see being so upset about this ad. So let's dig into it and what the opportunity is for Hims and Hers. My name is Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content. And thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. I want to start with some of the headlines because I thought this was really interesting. Let's start with the Wall Street Journal. Hims and Hers Super Bowl ad spotlights weight loss drug copycats as clock ticks on their business. Now, I've covered this a bunch of times on this channel, but GLP-1s are a tiny fraction of Hims and Hers business. So just hilarious that Wall Street Journal, which should know better, this is a business publication, should know that if GLP-1s are canceled, Hims and Hers business is not going to go away. They've been growing like crazy in the non-weight loss segment, and they have a lot of weight loss products that are not GLP-1s. Hims and Hers, this is CNBC. Hims and Hers faces scrutiny from senators on Super Bowl ad that risks misleading patients. Two senators are expressing concern over upcoming advertisements that risk misleading patients by omitting any safety or side effect information. Now, I can't speak to the legalese of what sort of information needs to be included or what doesn't, but when you have an industry go to senators, that's telling you that they're trying to push as much power as they can behind getting this ad blocked. This is life sciences. Didn't disclose that these treatments are not FDA approved. Technically, they're not FDA approved, but they are allowed by the FDA. So the FDA has approved the production and sale of these products, but they're not technically FDA approved. Compounding treatments is not something that's uncommon. It's not crazy. I got a compounded treatment for my young child recently. That was done at the Children's Hospital Pharmacy. So this is not something that's crazy or out of the realm of possibility. It's just not something that Big Pharma wants to know that companies can do. But I think this is the most damning one. This one actually goes to the Partnership for Safe Medicine is urging the FDA to block the ad. Who is the Partnership for Safe Medicines? Well, if you go to members, the members include groups like the Alabama Pharmacy Association, Alaska, all of these pharmacy associations. The word pharmacy or pharmacist shows up 41 times on this page. Here's another one, drugstore chains, Association of Manufacturers. So why are they fighting Hims and Hers? Why do they not want Hims and Hers to get more attention, especially for their compounded GLP-1s? Because this threatens their business. If you are a pharmacist, if you are a pharmacy, and you are not part of this telehealth style business, you are threatened with potentially losing business if this GLP-1 business or any sort of business, as Hims and Hers grows, moves to an online platform. This would be like a small retailer telling senators that they want to block an ad from Amazon in 2000 because Amazon was going to destroy their business. Amazon was potentially going to steal their credit card information or something like that. They wanted to create fear in the disruption that was coming from a company like Amazon. That's what these companies are doing. They see a threat from Hims and Hers, so they're going as high as they can in the power structure to try to get this ad blocked. Now, it wasn't blocked. It did show on the Super Bowl. I thought it was a reasonably good ad. Not a lot of great ads, so that's probably not a high bar for this Super Bowl in particular. But it got the point across, and you can see that Hims in particular had a huge jump in Google searches. So this index is at 342 for the full week prior to this ad playing. Then it goes to 100. Now this is an index. This is not a number of searches. And then it's actually remained elevated. Now we are at a pace of 2 to 3 times the amount of searches for Hims in particular. We could look at Hims and Hers having a similar trend. Much more searching today than there was a week ago. Same thing if you go to Hims GLP-1. So this is why one of the reasons I'm so excited about Hims and Hers. It is a platform that is growing extremely rapidly because it can service customers in a different and potentially much better way than the traditional healthcare infrastructure. And the fact that that terrifies the traditional healthcare infrastructure, I think just shows you how powerful the business is. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. Now, when you look at the numbers, the fear that the traditional industry has, whether you're looking at doctors or pharmacies or big pharma companies, is pretty clear. And it's clear that this company is growing and potentially disrupting their business at a really rapid rate. So let's look at this. These are all trailing 12-month numbers. In 2021, the company had just $272 million worth of revenue. Over the past 12 months, this is through Q3 2024, $1.24 billion worth of revenue and $100 million worth of net income. Cash flow is a little bit higher than that as well. In Q4, management is expecting revenue to grow 90%. That was their guidance. The midpoint of the guidance was 90% growth from a year ago. Yes, some of that growth is going to come from GLP-1s, which were not part of the business in 2023. But a lot of that growth is going to come from just adding subscribers for things like ED, hair loss, and their other weight loss products. So there's been a ton of talk about Hims and Hers and the potential disruption from GLP-1s or the potential to lose that as a product that they can actually sell. By the way, they could sell traditional branded GLP-1s, so that's something that they have already been working on. You can already look at that on their website. But this is an entirely new business model in the medical industry, and it's causing a lot of shockwaves. It's causing a lot of confusion about what the growth is, what the future is, what you can and can't do in the medical industry. But it's also lowering costs and increasing access. And that's exactly the trends that I want to be bullish on for the medical industry long term. Hims and Hers has basically tried to cut out the insurance industry from their business. They have intentionally gone outside of insurance because it increases transparency, lowers costs long term. And that is ultimately going to be good for consumers, good for the growth of their business. And yes, it will disrupt traditional industries. But that's why the reaction about this Super Bowl ad was so interesting to me, is because if the traditional industries, the pharmacies, the big pharma companies, all the way up to senators are so concerned about Hims and Hers growing and getting more attention, that tells you just how disruptive this business is. I'm looking for a big quarter. We're going to find that out later in the month. I think it could be a really good quarter in Q4. But at the end of the day, I would just want to see this platform growing and growing really rapidly. Because as they add more treatments, they're going to get into menopause and grow that Hers business in 2025. But they can grow the traditional business as well at a really rapid rate. And 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I think this is going to be a phenomenal business. But let me know what you thought about the Super Bowl ad and the reaction for Hims and Hers. Leave those comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.